It's very different when you're casting women because it's not just the woman, it's her family, it's her children, it's her husband or ex-husband or partner or ex-partner. Right. Like, it becomes so complicated, right? Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. So B and cocktailers, guys, I have to tell you, I am rolling in a little hot today off of a couple of glasses of wine at a fun lunch that I just had. So who knows what I'm going to say today?
Well, you just inspired me to pour myself a cocktail because we were not on the same wavelength.
Perfect. We'll somehow meet somewhere in the middle today.
Yes.
Okay, so we are recording. Today is a Friday. It's the 16th. We're recording a couple of days after the last Aspen episode, but then a couple of days before the very last of the Aspen episodes air. So all the tea that we have been getting since like forever ago. So this would have been, I don't know, late spring when this was actually happening. We're putting it all to the test. But let's talk about like what we are thinking is like really happening. Some of the stuff that we heard about in Aspen, Rinna and Kathy, because we know they go on a crazy social media situation a little later in the summer. So tell me what you're thinking.
So we are going out on a limb because we're all going to see it next week and we haven't seen it yet. With that said, I trust this source very much. We're not getting footage, Amanda. They were not in production when they were at the private club, Caribou, I want to say.
Okay. Did I tell you I've been there?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me because you're very bougie.
This is what I do not belong to the Caribou Club. I was there on a work thing. So it had nothing. It wasn't even personal friends.
Cocktailers calling Caribou for every person who belongs there named Amanda. Good thing it's a private club.
I took pictures in there. I think that was probably not allowed. Maybe we'll share them or we'll share them on the membership site.
Oh, I love it.
Going.
So, okay. So production was down. So what does that mean? I mean, I think most cocktailers are very savvy, but production being down means, they film all day and then at some point the cameras go down. So we have to remember that day, the day before and that day, they had so much good footage. They had Erica exploding. I only care about myself, going against Garcelle and Crystal. And then the next, then Erica packs up and Dorit packs her up. And then we have Kyle completely melting down at the hat shop and we'll get to why I think she melted down.
Yeah.
So they had so much footage. And it was late at night when they went to this private club. So I think that production was like, all right, we're out. And listen, I also think that I actually know that they party with production because I just know. So whatever it is, cameras were legitimately down. It's a private club, so cameras would not be allowed in. Okay. So here they are. And we have all been hearing about this since the spring. I remember when I first got the email about the alleged slur, it was very out of left field. It was before I was really seeing anything in social media written about it. And, I contacted my two top sources and they were like, cease and desist. We're not able to print. So I was like, oh, wow, something happened here. Okay. So not even to rehash it because there's many different versions, but suffice to say, the allegation is that Kathy made a slur to the DJ when she wouldn't play a Michael Jackson song. Okay. We all know Kathy. The Hiltons were friends with Michael Jackson. Okay. Now, apparently everybody was overserved, which makes sense because they were pretty much overserved, right? So Rinna leaves with Kathy. Now, here's the kicker. It was not a Sprinter. There was not like a secret camera. They left in an Uber. So that's that link, okay? Because even if production is down, if you hop in a Sprinter van waiting outside, those cameras are, I don't really know how it works. But right, okay, so.
They're rigged. They're always rigged, right? And they still have them because they have to take their sound packs.
Right.
Their mic packs and everything off, which makes sense because having, like I said, like Caribou Club, so fun, but it is also, they know what they're doing there. It's a lot of essentially like the locals there can kind of get in, whatever. It's more the people who are in from out of town that they make be members. Mm-hmm. So just like a little secret thing for everybody. But they are really big on like, this is, a lot of celebrities come. So I'm sure they were like, you can't even be mic'd. Like no mics, no nothing.
And what about the dress code? Because remember, Kathy was like, I hope I get in. I'll just go home if I don't. Are they really strict with the dress code, Amanda?
No, I mean, I would be absolutely shocked if Kyla's a member and she was bringing a guest that they would be that hard on somebody. Like, I would imagine they would probably say, just like any nicer restaurant, like you can't be overtly, like in some cases they might be like no flip flops for men or something, but girls can get away with a lot more.
Right. Well, they were saying that they turned away. I don't know if they turned her away, but they were like questioning Kris Jenner's outfit, which like, who questions Kris Jenner?
I don't believe that for a minute. I think I looked at that. I was like, there's no way they would say especially if Kris Jenner is a member or was there with a member, they wouldn't say boo to her because then one of the other Kardashians would be walking in with zero clothes on. So I didn't really think that was, I thought that was maybe Kathy or Kyle giving Kathy a hard time.
Or them trying to make like it seem like such an exclusive club, like for the audience to be like, ooh. Right. Okay, so Rinna leaves, they hop in an Uber. Now, I mean, we saw the text messages, right? You see Lisa texting, I guess it was Erica. Oh my God, she's crazy, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. I think, okay, so then Kathy's text says, I'm just going to read Kathy's. Please, please do not say anything we discussed. Otherwise, it will make a huge scene that everyone gets dragged into. No bueno. Worth noting, she spelled bueno wrong.
Yeah.
Please, it goes further than you would want to know. Silence is golden. I am staying silent. Now, here is the thing. Do I believe that Kathy got in the van and went on a tirade about Kyle because she decided to confront Rinna about the tequila? Because Kathy was drinking. Yes. I think she was pissed at Rinna, but more importantly, she was pissed that Kyle didn't have her back. Whether that's rational or irrational, right? She was very pissed. Now, do I think that she said a slur? I don't know. Is it out of the realm of possibility that a wealthy, spoiled white woman who doesn't get her way and is told that they won't play her friend's song would say something inappropriate? Of course it's not. However, Amanda, where's this DJ?
Yeah.
Why hasn't he spoke out? I mean, people will say he was paid off, but why hasn't he spoke out?
I don't know. I did notice that. So on the end of the show, then when they're showing the previews and the like to be continued, which is, you always know it's going to be good. And they show a screenshot of Kathy's text. I got to go with Lisa Rinna on this one. Like, if this is the real text message, the show edited her text because they made it look like it only said silence is golden. I am staying silent. Because like you even see like the date above it versus like the date and time with the two texts. So like that to me, I was like, okay, well, actually, I believe you, Lisa, because I'm looking at this screenshot and I'm looking at what the TV is showing, and that does look different. Honestly, I think we're probably never gonna know. I think the question becomes like, what is everybody really mad about? Like, what's really going on? That's where my head goes, because I was like, I think that anybody has the ability to do some misbehavior when they've had too many drinks and they're mad because of whatever. I want to know why they were mad.
Well, I mean, it goes back to my opinion, which I think I've shared here, is I think in a general way, all of the women, with the exception of Garcelle and Crystal are mad that Kathy was the breakout fan favorite. And I'll throw Sutton in that too. I think that Rinna is especially mad because Rinna is, she's salty. She's a covetous person. Comes to mind. I think Kyle is certainly mad because Kyle, and maybe rightfully so, Kyle's put herself out there, put her family out there for so many years. And her sister, her rich, spoiled sister, walks in and puts on a show because, listen, I didn't watch all of Paris in Love, but I did see a couple episodes, and Kathy is a different person on that show. She played a character, but Kyle, we know she's playing a character. We like it. We think it's funny. We think she almost acts like an aging person with dementia. No, no offense to anyone who is aging with dementia. No, I'm kidding. But she does. She acts not, let me take the dementia out of it.
If you're in your 50s, you know what hunky dory means.
Right.
It's definitely, I think there's a little bit of an act being put on, but we love it. And I think you're totally right in that, the rest of the cast could go one way or the other. They could be annoyed because she came in, or they could play it off like an improv act and be like, Kathy, come on, hunky dory. They could go along with it. And it just feels like this season, they're all no, we're not. Kathy got too much screen time for doing that, and we kind of played in with it this year. We're going to call her out on it. I don't know. It just feels to me like the show is devolving into sludge, and I'm just I'm caring less and less about what they're actually doing on the screen, and I'm caring more and more about what they're feeling and thinking and what's really going on.
So I want to talk about the hat shop and Kyle's absolute meltdown. Obviously, she was genuinely upset, okay? But she was not, my opinion is she was not genuinely upset that Dorit was comforting Erica. This show, and I've been saying it since since it first started filming, but everything that Kyle accused Lisa Vanderpump of doing and being, Kyle was always right there with her doing it and being it. So here you have Dorit, who is her current strongest ally. We know the friendship between the couples, and the four of them have sort of, and I love that people are making it like Mauricio's having an affair with Dorit. No, they are in a partnership together for the sake of the show, and the two of them are a crew. You know what I'm saying?
I think they legitimately enjoy each other's company too, but I think they also see that there's a big advantage to them being close and them having each other's back on the show.
So it's just now becoming obvious to, I don't know, the audience maybe, but about Kyle, I mean that to say, it's becoming obvious the way that Kyle plays things, because I think that she always pinned it on Lisa Vanderpump, and Lisa did do it. Listen, Lisa did do it, right? So, but I think they both did it. So here we have it. So she's with Erica. Now listen, Erica and Rinna are ride or die. No matter, did you see the way they embraced when she went to the pizza shop? You would have thought she came back from war. And you notice Rinna was not nervous. She wasn't at all bothered that Erica, she wasn't nervous because she knows they have a strong pact.
I know, but Rinna had also been drinking tequila too.
Yes, that's true.
Girls trips, you've been on one too. Okay. So, but yes, I agree. Rinna walked in there and she was like, I'm ready to save the day. I think she really thought she was going to make a big peace treaty. And Kyle hasn't treated Sutton well at all. No.
She hasn't treated Garcelle well. And how funny was it, side note, when she sat next to Garcelle and she said, can you just talk to me? It was so obvious that she was on the outs. She was nervous about what they spoke about. So when she finally sees Erica, she's so quick to move past it because she needs them to be allies, because the reality is there's stuff she doesn't want spoken about, and she knows they're the ones that would do it. At that moment, Kathy was pissed at her, and I very much know that Kathy has the power to fuck shit up if she wants to. Okay. She is no wilting flower. Like when she's sliding down the hill with the boots, it's cute. It's funny, but that is not fully who she is.
No.
Yeah. So I just thought that she was screaming and crying because she was so scared to lose Dorit as an ally. It was so obvious.
You know, because I was thinking about this, right? And I unfortunately feel like every time we talk, especially about Beverly Hills, but now I'm looking at everything, like more and more of my veil of innocence about Real Housewives is being ripped away.
I know. I'm sorry.
I know other people are saying it too. And I know that you're right. I just am like, God, am I so wrong to like want the show to actually be about friendships and like fun places and fashion, and not for it to really just be like a dressed up version of Survivor with Birkins and tequila. Like, I know. But I'm watching it, right? And because I'm like, I'm putting myself in Kyle's shoes. I'm like, okay, I would be really mad if I made all these plans and I was really excited because like doing this hat experience, like she had to like get this whole thing, like it would be a bonding moment for everybody to get their hats and like take a picture.
Okay, but would you get hysterical and cry and throw a fit if I decided that I wasn't coming because I was going to stay with my friend who you happened to be in a fight with, in an argument with?
If I had a bunch of tequilas and I had made this plan and you and I, who are not fighting, and you go with this other friend who is fighting with me, and like this other, I would be mad, not so much at you, but I would be even more mad at the other friend, being like, she's throwing this huge fit and now she's taking our other friends. So now like we've got this divide in the group. Like I would be upset about that. So I can see where if it's a surface level thing where Kyle would be upset. But I agree with you that I think it's probably really about this alliance kind of situation, unfortunately.
And whether it is or whether Kyle is legitimately upset, I can't feel sorry for somebody who didn't blink when Sutton was called to see you next Tuesday, the episode before. Like,
yeah, in your own house, where I keep saying this to my friends. I'm like, because we're all talking about it. I'm like, can you imagine somebody else calling somebody that name in your own house and you not saying anything as a hostess? Like that wouldn't fly in my house. That wouldn't fly in.
Absolutely not. If
houses,
I'm hosting anything at my house and somebody uses that language, it could be my best friend in the whole world. It could be my brother. You have to leave. You can't speak to somebody like that in my home. I'm sorry, but if you're the hostess, you have to side with the victim. I mean, that's just common courtesy, the whole thing. But when Garcelle says how different rules for different people, like, yes. And here, Crystal, where did Crystal get her voice? I feel like Garcelle pulled her aside and she was like, Crystal, I got your back. Let's go. Speak up.
It was, honestly, when she said it, I literally paused it on my TV. I'm like, oh my God, yes, you are 100% right.
And I love this version of her.
I know. Well, I think this is Garcelle looking at the camera and telling the audience about these alliances without actually telling us about these alliances. I think she's like, guys, wake up. This is what's happening. Because Crystal said the exact same thing. She's like, if I pulled that shit, it would be never ending for me.
She's right.
She's 100% right.
I am very interested to see. I think what we're going to see next week is the Kyle. I think it's going to be all about Kathy going on a rampage about Kyle, which I fully believe happened. I think, I don't, would Kathy deny that? I guess we'll see it. I don't think she'll deny it. I think she'll say I was angry and I said things I shouldn't have said. But I don't think we're going to hear word one about the slur. And I think that they filmed and this is just me speculating. Nobody has told me this, but I think that they filmed the reunion ahead of the Aspen episode so that they can avoid it. Erica was on Watch What Happens Live and she said that it was the most intense reunion. She said that there was no group hug after, not group hug, but no group picture. Nobody hugged. It was very tense and lot of alliance changes, like everything that we predicted and we said was happening in real time last week when our spy was there was confirmed.
Well, I have a theory about why we might never hear about what really happened. And it might have nothing to do actually with the story that's been told about Kathy. It could be that Kathy's rant was going off on her sister, but it was breaking too much of the fourth wall. right? Where because she's
Right.
not being filmed, she's not being taped, and she's like saying what she really thinks about the show and alliances and all these other things that like us as viewers can never see and never hear, because like the show is going to not want us. They just don't want us to know, right? Or about
Yes.
production or about any of that other stuff. And so that could be the reason we just might never hear the answer.
Good point. Good point.
We'll see. I don't know.
I have to tell you, I'm ready for Beverly Hills. I'm ready for the reunion. I want to see the Aspen episode and then I'm done. And I want to see the reunion and I want to move on to my Potomac ladies, to my Salt Lake City ladies.
Yeah.
I want to move on. I'm done. I'm exhausted. My weave is exhausted.
But do you want to go to Aspen with me and get hats at Kimosabe?
I'm not even joking. I really would want to do that. First of all, there's a bar there. Do you know? You spoke about drinking and shopping. Could you imagine, Amanda, what we would buy with tequila there?
It's the best kind of retail. Well, I know. So I do not have one of these hats, but I have heard about this whole experience and have always wanted to go because I know it's a very kind of special thing to do. So, and I have been to, there's actually, I think one in another mountain town that I've been to too. So, you know what, if we've learned nothing else, we have learned another place that we might need to do cocktails and gossip on the road.
Yes. And I never really was into hats, but when I was in Miami a couple weeks ago, I got a hand painted hat from a boutique in Miami and I'm going to kill myself because I can't think of the name. They had just done a photo shoot with Dr. Nicole Martin.
Oh, cute.
Yes. And they were telling me about it and I was just like smiling in my head. I was like, I should tell them on Bravo and Cocktails. Maybe they'll give me a free hat. But I decided that my anonymity, how do I say it?
Anonymity. Whatever. I've had 2 glasses of wine. You guys know what we're saying.
was more important than a free, $200 hat. But it's so nice. So I feel like I'm just getting into hats. So I feel like the next step is a $600 hat that they burn in front of me.
For sure. For sure. I love how they lit it on fire. Well, let's talk about Real Housewives in New York, because whether or not everything's really filming, it just feels like Roni season to me with it turning into fall. So we saw Sonia posting a picture with a green screen.
Mm-hmm. So as sick as I am of Beverly Hills is as much as I miss Roni. I started rewatching season 4. Okay. I miss it. So yes, she posted a picture of green screen. And then my source, I was on the phone with them the other night and they were like, I'm letting you know something that probably won't surprise you because I know that you're a New York City girl and you think it's like the best show that ever. They're on the West Coast. So we're like Biggie and Tupac, right? I'm Biggie. He's Tupac. He's like, it is so good. The Luann and Sonia show is so good that he said probably going to be taken off of Peacock and just be on Bravo. That's how good it is. So I said to them, I was like, so you're telling me that the green screen was for that show? And they were like, I don't believe that they're filming, but Amanda, it's Fashion Week. So what we know is, this is what I can tell you that we know. All of the OGs or all of the ladies who have been on that they're interested in, right? The whole gaggle of them, Dorinda, Jill, all of those, Kelly, this one, that one, they've all been spoken to. They've all been asked what their schedules are, but none of them have been confirmed. However, Luann and Sonia just did this spinoff, which now I'm hearing is so successful, it's being put on Bravo. So we can pretty much say that they're going to be on it. So literally, I'm on the phone with this source. A couple of hours later, I get the email. Filming in New York City. And guys, this is a pod exclusive. I have not posted this. From Wives in New York City. Something's filming in New York City. I stayed at the Time Hotel, 49th and 8th, this past weekend. Sunday morning and afternoon, there were production and film crews in and out. I asked the bartender downstairs at Sarafino what was filming. He said one of the Housewives shows were filming in the Penthouse. He didn't specifically know if it was Roni or Legacy, but crews were in and out all Sunday and Monday morning. You might remember Serafina is where Kyle famously said to Camille, "You're such a fucking liar, Camille." So we know that this is a spot that, Bravo films at.
Well, okay. I feel like I have a lot to react to. First of all, like, Sonia and Luann are gonna make freaking great TV. Not surprised to hear that show's doing really well. I think we all need to laugh. Like, we need more just fun and funniness and silliness and goofiness back on Bravo again. It's just all gotten so, like,
heavy,
just dramatic and heavy and violent and all of that. So, like, God bless them. It's like, I was watching Southern Charm and that Dinner for Chumps, or I kept in my head calling it that, but because those boys were all just, they were all on one that night, including Patricia, which I loved, the Dinner for Gentlemen. But watching them, oh my God.
Oh, where Craig destroyed a chair, a couch.
And like his flies down. I was like, that's just more endearing to me, because I'm like, nobody had it together, including Patricia. The chef is like going off. Like, I mean, it was so good. I was like, this, thank you, is what we all need. We
Yes.
need more of this kind of fun stuff. But anyway, and I really do believe that Luann and Sonia can deliver that for us. So I really hope that it's everywhere, because and I hope it's as good as they're saying. But, back to the filming blind. But think about it. I can't not remember anybody's names. We'll get them better at them once we see them on TV. But the founder of Love Shack Fancy is rumored to be in the cast. And then there is another woman who works for Vera Wang, who is also rumored to be in the cast. So there are some women in the reboot that have some very real fashion ties. So it makes sense to me that they would be filming,
Right.
In the middle of all of this during Fashion Week. So I 100% believe, and I believe that it's the reboot. I think it's them. I don't think it's actually, I think we would know if we would have heard, we would have had people sending us stuff if it was the Legacy crew.
And here's the thing, Amanda, it makes perfect sense, because just because the whole entire cast isn't firmed up for the reboot, the ladies want their stuff showcased. So they're going to sign that contract so that Fashion Week is on. And we know that very often they start filming and then as they add, like Taylor, I think, wasn't filming at the beginning and she was added into OC. It happens on every show on Bravo every season.
Right. Cherie on Beverly Hills.
Perfect. Good job.
Yeah. Came in halfway and then we still don't see much of her.
I did post that one of my sources shared with me that they know of 2 people who have dropped out of the reboot.
Oh, yeah.
So what they said was, okay. On the one hand, you want somebody who's got something to show, right? A business, a fancy life, all this stuff. But on the other hand, and we discussed this a couple times, you're signing over some of your earnings from your business if you're promoting it on a show. That's 1. 2, you have a lot of money typically, right? 3, they're not paying first season people all that much. So in the case of like these young people shows, Summer House, that kind of stuff, these are young. It's very different when you're casting women because it's not just the woman. It's her family. It's her children. It's her husband or ex-husband or partner or ex-partner. Right. Like it becomes so complicated, right? So 2 people dropped out. I don't know who those 2 people are.
Yeah.
I do know that a headmaster at a private school secretary's been emailing me, but I can't share too much on that yet, but Stay tuned.
Well, wasn't it Ramona's daughter who got kicked out of her school before, like way back when, because of her mom being on the show?
And that's why Ramona charged off the stage season 1 or 2 because Alex had topless photos out, remember? That was about the kid's school. I think she was asked to leave. And ultimately, Ramona chose the show.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah.
And like, it's so ironic. And then fast forward to the last season of Roni where she's running around with titty tassels. Like, hypocrite.
Okay. Well, speaking of mess, what do you think is really happening with this whole messy flower situation with Lisa and Lenny from Miami, and explain it, because I still don't really quite understand it.
So I don't think I know, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So we saw Lisa post flowers. So when she posts the flowers, I get bunch of DMs with pictures of it. And she tagged Lenny Hochstein, but she didn't tag Lenny. She tagged the med spa, which for everyone's information, she owns. I mean, with him, but she owns, she runs and everything like that. So flowers were sent to the med spa. She tagged the med spa. So I reshared it and I posted, guys, she's not tagging Lenny. She's tagging the med spa. These aren't from Lenny. But at that point, I didn't know who they were from. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize they're not from Lenny. I am told, and when I say I'm told, I know this to be true, they were sent to the med spa, addressed to Lenny, and from Morgan, who was the girl who was on Bear Girls Club, who was the girl who was Diana Jenkins' ex-husband's sugar baby at one point. This is all public stuff, by the way. Who was on Big Ange, may she rest in peace, that Monkey, that bar she had in Staten Island, she was on that show. So she's basically like really wants to be a reality TV star, really wants to be rich. She sent them and she said, divorce looks great on you, love Morgan. Here's the kicker. This is the part that's interesting. Lisa wasn't there. It's not like she intercepted the flowers. Lenny sent her the knowledge that he had received flowers from Morgan, because although there is a messy divorce going on, both Lenny and Lisa have a severe, extreme dislike for Morgan because she has caused a lot of strife in their life. That rhymes. And where they're at right now is, yes, the divorce is crazy, but they do not hate each other. And every day isn't amicable, but they are both making their best effort to keep it amicable for the sake of their two young children. And I would like to say I'm very, very happy to share that information.
That is a big relief, because that's, I think, the right way to go for the kids. Because, I think sometimes people just get very distracted by what other people are thinking and doing things, say things that they probably shouldn't in public, that their kids can then find out about. So I say good. I'm glad to hear that.
And we're a few months into this now. Like they split in the spring. Let's call it May. We're about 6 months into this now, and I can't speculate on what their marriage was, but a lot of people. And so Morgan is out there posting and so angry, right? So angry that it was posted on Bravo and Cocktails, and Cocktails and Gossip now are talking about it. So angry that it's saying that they both don't like her. She says she can expose both of them. Their marriage wasn't real. Listen, they are legally married. They share 2 children. Whatever that looks like for them, be it an open marriage, be it whatever, Morgan is not married to either of them. She needs to exit stage left. Now, the reason, by the way, she was so ticked off is because the night before those flowers were sent, Lisa was at Philip Fine, who is big designer. He had some big launch in Miami, and Lisa was basically like a VIP guest in every picture. So obviously Morgan's ex Philip was sticking it to Morgan. And so Morgan's comeback was, let me send Lenny flowers, and it flopped for her, and she's pissed.
Did Lisa post a pic then on her own social and then tag? That's the part I don't get. Because it's just kind of fueling this Morgan person's desire for the limelight and the drama.
I think she wanted bloggers to talk, and I think she wanted us to be talking about this. I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough.
I think that her and Morgan really have real beef that goes beyond Lenny. Like, I'm told that, like, if they're in the same spot, it becomes a thing where one asks the other to leave, and they play chicken. It's like a power move between the two of them.
Well, and if Lisa and Lenny are united in their dislike for this woman, and they're kind of posting a make fun of you pic, and we're going to make fun of, we're going to turn this right back around, and we're going to post it on social media, and we're going to tag each other on it, then, like, okay, I get it.
And remember, like, the general fan base may not know, but friends and associates and people in Miami knew exactly what Lisa was posting. You get what I'm saying? Like, maybe every fan that watches Real Housewives of Miami didn't get it, but whoever Lisa wanted to get it, got it.
Got it.
You know? So.
Okay, so Winter House, like, what do we think is happening with that?
Holy shit, man. It looks good. It looks good. You might remember that rumor that Luke was asked to leave the house. Apparently, he left for a night and he came back. Now, you'd have to assume he was asked to leave for a reason. I posted about it. I mean, I hear different things. So I want to say, let's watch. We do know he was not asked back on Summer House this season, but he will be at BravoCon.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a gray area. I think, you know, listen, this group of friends, like, goes in and out of being friends season to season. You know, first of all, it's also because, like, the relationships change, who their date changes. It just looks good. I mean, and you saw Kyle and Craig into it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, they come to blows, it looks like. Like,
Kyle says to Paige, put your boyfriend on, which is hysterical because, like, who gets more drunk than Kyle? I mean, Kyle and Craig both get very drunk. Put your boyfriend on a leash. Like, I mean, Paige is not going to take that sitting down.
No.
And, like, the thing is that I'm sure Amanda's just like the next day, like, I don't want to fight because they're fighting. Like, let's not let it affect us. And Paige is probably like, okay, but Kyle's an asshole.
And we have the Toms. So we see.
Oh my God. Yes.
From Vanderpump Rules come.
Yes. They come. And I love at the end when, like, Tom Sandoval is, like, trying to talk about what's going on, and Schwartz just looks at him and he's like, I think I have alcohol poisoning. By the way, him and Raquel were making out the other night. I got pictures sent to me. I posted about it.
I know. We got them, sent into the website. I just, you know, of course I was looking at it. I was like, Tom looks really good with, looks really cute, but I'm like, ew.
I get that they're both single. I just don't love it. I wish they could both find somebody else.
Well, and I just, like, I don't know. I always just think about Katie and, like, put myself in her shoes. It's like, do we need to see this? No. Like,
same.
Nobody really wants to see it, you know? Like, I don't know.
But you know what, Amanda? I think it's because you and I are married. And so we have a certain, like, feeling that if something happened, like, we would have certain boundaries. I feel like maybe young single girls like Raquel, I'm trying to be fair now to Rochelle, maybe they, because they have never been married, don't really get our point of view. And we're too far removed from their point of view. Does that make sense?
I think that is definitely possible. I also think I just side with Katie because I'm like, if I saw Katie out dating, I'd be like, good for you. I don't know.
I know. So totally, I think that we're unfair because if Katie got hot and heavy with Peter, I keep using Peter because he's like the only, like, imagine she got hot and heavy with a divorced Jax.
Right. No, ew.
But, like, I would be like, good for her. And you know what? Who cares? They're both single. But since it's Raquel and Schwartz, I'm like, oh, that is girl code. That is not right. There need to be boundaries. So you know what?
Yeah.
Listen. And I think it's important to say, like, we spill tea, right? And then we give our opinion. Like, we're allowed, and the world would be boring if we all agreed.
Right.
Followers will inbox me and they'll be like, they'll disagree with something I say. And then they'll be like, please don't block me. I write back, I'm like, I'm not going to block you. I'm not even going to block you if you don't like me. Like, I don't block people. If you're going to message me every day cursing me out, I'm going to block you just because it's annoying. But people are not only allowed to have different opinions, it's a natural human thing. And in the same way it's that way, I'm allowed to have my opinions and I'm allowed to be biased. I don't work for Bravo. I don't have to be a non-biased person.
Right.
I see somebody wrote in a review, oh, do they work for Paige because they never say anything bad about her? If there's something bad to say, I'll say it. I generally like Paige. Paige is a little bit younger than me, but she reminds me a lot of myself. You know, she's a girl from New York, although she's from upstate, whatever. She's a girl from New York. She's Italian. She's funny. She's quick-witted. And she's a hustler. I respect everything like that. And honestly, I find myself to be similar. So guess what? I'm going to be on her side unless it's something egregious, just because it would be like siding against myself.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm on her payroll. I mean, Paige, you could send me a check though, boo. I'd like that.
Having different opinions about different people, like that's what makes the world go around. I just, and I have my people, and like, I think Katie is, I don't think I wouldn't be as excited about seeing Katie. Like, my whole point with Rochelle has just been like, go outside of your friends' ex-husbands. Like, just,
right.
Like I said, like, shop a single, like, go even to a different show. Like, keeping it there, I'm like, that just feels icky and it makes it weird for everybody. Like, don't do that. Like,
I also think that that Raquel is like kind of calculated at this point, because she just had a lot of bad press with Oliver. So conveniently, there's public pictures of her making out with Tom, as if to say, I'm not with a married man. I'm with a man who's almost divorced.
There's so many single men in LA. Like,
yeah.
Southern California, like, all of it. San Diego. I mean, go girl. Like, just somebody else. You would still get press for making out with somebody even if they're not famous. I don't know. She should have just gone to some of the Emmy parties, because it sounds like everybody was just making out at all of those anyway.
I have to say, if I was her, if I was a single, beautiful girl living in Hollywood, I would try to bag a real celebrity.
Right.
I mean, what the heck? I mean, Leonardo now supposedly he's with Gigi, but he's on the market. I mean, she's under 30, Raquel, right?
Let's go. The right age.
Right. Let's go.
I don't know. I think it'll be fun to see the Toms on Winter House. I love a crossover. It looks like, thank God, because you know me and I go off, but like seeing only couples in these houses, like I really don't want to see Couple House Winter Edition. I mean, no. So no. I'm excited that there is this new guy, Corey, who definitely seems to have this like fuckboy vibe, which we definitely need. We have the new girl who looks like Lindsay. I cannot remember her name.
Jessica.
But like, I need to see some like musical beds. I need to see drama about people hooking up. Like, that is what is so much more fun to watch than like couples being like fighting over who gets the best room.
Obviously more fun. And we see Lindsay and Carl, they're not part of the cast. They pop up, and we see Lindsay having a very uncomfortable conversation with Jason. By the way, he looks like a James to me, because I always think of him as James. I don't know why, but he was adorable and really sweet. Cute. And it seems like he was hurt that Lindsay spoke about the miscarriage on television. And you could see that Lindsay feels really bad in the scene. She's like, listen, there's not a playbook on this. There's no rules. And it's like uncomfortable because it happened and they didn't even know each other that well, right? Yeah. I mean, listen, you sleep with somebody, you can get pregnant, and it must be very weird to have that happen with somebody you don't know that well. So I really feel for both of them in that situation. I don't think either one is right or wrong. I'm sure they work it out because he seems very reasonable and she's in a very good place being happy with Carl.
As you were saying this, I just had this thought in my head. Because remember, we're a little older than these guys. Like, remember after school specials?
Well, not than all of them. Let's point that out.
Yes, that's true. Then some of them. But do you remember after school specials that were, like,
yes,
and they would always be about an issue like teen pregnancy, or there was Benny and the roids, the guy who like did the steroids. There was the kid who like jumped out the window because of Angel Dust.
Oh my God! We watched all the same things! I was so into them, by the way.
But this, as you're saying this, I was like, oh my God, is like like Bravo shows becoming the new after school special.
Oh my God.
Learn about it, because it's true. Like, there is no playbook about miscarriage. And like, if you've ever had a friend who goes through it, it is an awful, awful experience. And then like the whole, like, you know, how much does the dad have the voice versus the mom? Because it's the mom's body that this happened to, but it's both their babies. And like, right. I can only imagine how they were both feeling. And so anyway, sorry, you guys, but those of you who have watched after school specials will really appreciate that conversation, because I think that's what these are now.
We call them geriatric millennials, Amanda.
Yes.
Oh, and then there's Rachel. So, okay, guys, Rachel is this really, I follow her Instagram. Like, she's so cool. Like, she's very pretty and she's all tatted up and she's got like fancy jewelry. She has a floral business. She did Kyle and Amanda's wedding. She has the most gorgeous floral installation. She does like she was on an HBO. Well, I'm going to read. So when Summer House was filming, we got an email and it said Flower Power. It's about the flowers. Flower Power. Okay. No one, and I mean no one, would stress that much over flowers. The reason it's a storyline for Kyle and Amanda is because they wanted to have an iconic florist do their flowers for free or very discounted. It happened. They had to talk a lot about flowers and obviously showcase her work, but it happened. The florist was Dearest Rachel, featured in HBO Max's Full Bloom, and the winner of the Dare to Bloom floral design competition. And that's why the flowers were such a big storyline. So we posted this. I mean,
right before their wedding, because they got married about this time last year.
Yeah, in September. You're right. So she is a cast member of Winter House. So like anyway, guys, another win, another victory as we decided we're calling it for bravoandcocktails.com. But Amanda, if you don't follow her, you have to. I mean, I'm like, I don't know I'm already married and I'm trying to think, maybe my daughter's sweet 16 and however many years that is from now, she can do the flowers because she's incredible. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to follow her. And I'm interested to see if, because I've seen the pictures of her and I've seen some of the stuff and I'm really interested to see what her personality is. Because in my head, I'm like, I get the feeling like you have some really great like with the tattoos, like got a little edge and sassy. And we always need more of that.
I think she'll be good. I think she'll be good. And I know from following her Instagram, she's a very confident person. And I can see the other women getting along with her because they're a little bit scared not to.
Yes.
And I love somebody who has that vibe. Am I a bully? Maybe I'm a bully.
I definitely don't think you're a bully. I think you see strong personalities and are not afraid of them, which is great. I think that's, I like to see somebody who has a strong point of view and I don't know. Anyway.
Well, there's a strong point of view and then there's Ramona.
Okay, fair enough. Strong the right way.
I like them to have my point. No, I'm teasing. Okay, Amanda, you're going to be mad at me. I wish we would have planned to loop Larry in because shout out to At Bravo by Gaze. Okay. I don't dislike Austin this season on Southern Charm.
Well, first of all, he is not wearing any chunky white turtlenecks because it's warmer. So that helps. But no, I actually was just watching the Sea Island episode and I agree. He is redeeming himself.
I mean, when he points out that Shep is trying to control Taylor by quitting her job. And he just said it on the fly. It was his knee-jerk reaction, Shep just says that out of nowhere. And then he followed that up by saying that his mom and his aunts were the breadwinners. I was like, I really like this. And the way he said it was said with such a respect for women. And I also saw his conversation with Taylor, which the way he got choked up. I really felt you know what? Listen, on Winter House, he showed his whole ass. And we know with Madison, whatever. But we have to remember that when we're watching a show, there is an element of the edit and that people are not all one thing or all one thing or not all good or not all bad. So it was very refreshing and it showed us what, because listen, these smart women, Olivia, Ciara, who are interested in him. He has to have good qualities. We just don't listen. Bravo doesn't really show his good qualities. So I have to say, maybe he's not the worst person in the whole world.
Well, he has said multiple times on the show that his mom is a badass, with a big career. And I remember a few seasons ago, she was kind of raking him over the coals about his business. And I was like, oh, she's a baddie. I like it, in a good way. She's tough. And he also gives, you can see, like, he gives a lot of respect to her, his mom, and his sister. A ton of respect to his sister, too. So I like seeing that side of him. And I think it's hard. It's just been sort of hard to see much past the, like, surface with him because he hasn't gotten past the surface really with anybody, and it's been very surface level. So it was nice to see this side pop up of him, because I totally agree, he's redeeming himself.
Austin, good job. I'll give you a pat on the back if I should see you at BravoCon.
And a new shirt. No, like a new sweater.
Oh, a new shirt.
Okay, so, and you will see him.
I'm telling you.
I know. Oh no, but a lot of people will. All the cocktailers will say, I'm Bravo and cocktails, and they'll send him drinks.
I know. I'm not going to tell him who I am. Should I? Should we poll that?
Don't do it. I know you're going to be tempted to. Don't.
I should say it, and he's probably going to be like, oh, no, you're not. And then I'll open my Instagram and be like, yes, I fucking am.
Oh, my gosh. So, OC, we've been getting, especially this week, a ton of stuff coming in about OC. So Shannon.
No, I'm not. I know. Because he'll snap a picture of me and be like, here she is. Here's her address. Come find her.
How funny was this when somebody was like, Amanda, you're going to like this because you like Shannon. I loved that. So, like, we're hearing that she's not the only one kissing Tamra's ass. Or she is. She's the only one who's not. Everyone else is. That's what I meant. No,
she is. So Shannon's the only one kissing Tamra's ass, which it's kind of genius. And I knew you would appreciate it because you love you some Shannon. The lack of the storyline, we knew, and I said that things are very stagnant with the boyfriend. She's not going to talk about it. Stagnant is probably at best. At worst, it's like not a real relationship. So she's going to make someone else's, she's going to make the feud her storyline, which I'm okay with. I like to see Tamra all riled up, and Shannon gets her riled up. Gina has zero storyline, we're hearing. I mean, she could have spoke about all the tea we posted with the ex and the ex's soon-to-be ex-wife and the tax liens and the unemployment, but alas, she didn't. So expect friend of for Gina. And Tamra's friend is filming, so it's like a workout friend of Tamra's. I know it's been floating around. Her name is Jennifer Pedrontri or something with a P. Divorcee, kids, very interesting story. New boyfriend. Yeah. So I'm hearing.
Yes.
Amanda, you saw the email that just came in as we were recording. Basically, it says everything we just said. Tamra and Shannon feud, main focal point of the season. Gina has a little conflict with Taylor. Nothing much really going on. Looks like this season isn't going to be great.
I don't know. Watching them get up to shenanigans is always fun. It's funny that we're not hearing anything about Heather Dubrow, or at least nothing that's being sent in to the website. Not hearing much about her. Not hearing much about Emily.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think,
right.
I think that it sounds like, I think they just started filming too, like a couple of months ago. I think they've got a while to go too. So let's not write the season off before we even start watching it.
I'm not writing it off. And I think that.
No, I think I think whoever this person is trying to say, like, looks like the show won't be good. And like,
Vicky, is that you? Kelly, is that you?
Megan Edmonds?
Let's remember how good OC was. I mean, listen, there's a chance.
I definitely think so. And I do like Shannon. And I really like the idea of Shannon and Tamra together again. So I don't know. We'll see. And then, by the way, what is up with, like, just starting, I want to say yesterday, we started getting a bunch of stuff. Something's going on in Atlanta because we just started getting a bunch of stuff yesterday about Atlanta.
I mean, I'm loving what we got. Should I read it?
Yeah.
Another legacy from Trigger Blogger. Real Housewives of Atlanta legacy. Low-key rumor Real Housewives of Atlanta was next up for legacy. Sheree and Candy are planning to leave the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise to join. Lisa Wu and Kim Z are rumored to be in talks of returning for Legacy. Amanda.
I love a little Lisa Wu. I think
Right?
it would be so fun to get caught up on what's been going on with her.
Okay. So when I heard this, I was, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to calm down. I get very excited. I get very excited. I know I've said this before, but old school Atlanta was, obviously OC was everyone's first and I liked it, but Atlanta was like my first true, like, I am a Housewives fanatic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going to miss Nene. I don't care what anybody says about her. I love her. But I have some exclusive tea on that. Allegedly, she did not get a settlement from Bravo. Originally, the suit was filed in Atlanta, and word is she plans on filing in New York. So the case that she had against Bravo and Andy in Atlanta was dismissed. I think we all assumed there was settlement money, but there was not. She plans on filing in New York because she feels, or her attorney feels, that is where Bravo is based and she'll have better luck. So I guess we'll all stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but Lisa Wu. So much has happened in her life since we've seen her. And a couple seasons ago, she actually was like a friend of it at dinner, but you wouldn't even have known unless you were like me and were like a hardcore fan. I'm like, oh my God, that's Lisa Wu. Her and Ed got divorced a number of years ago, which, by the way, I felt very sad about because they were so cute on TV. And at that time, they had just had their son. I think they had one son at that time. Maybe it was two. But totally random side note, Ed went on to marry Keisha Knight. For those of you that don't know who Keisha Knight is, she was Rudy on The Cosby Show. Their wedding came out of nowhere. Like, people didn't even know they were dating. I remembered seeing that and I was like, what the heck? I knew that him and Lisa were divorced, but okay. And their wedding came out of nowhere. She was pregnant. A couple months after the wedding, divorce filed and paternity test. So very messy. So yes, Lisa Wu, come back. And she had such a sharp, funny, smart personality. I think she's fantastic. I'm curious as to why they never brought her back. I feel like for a variety of reasons, she didn't want to be showcased full time because I can't imagine producers wouldn't want her back. Listen, we hear Kim is a grifter and she's a mess, but goddamn, she's good television. Atlanta's chock full of women in business, with businesses and talent and artists and interesting lives. So I think it's a brilliant idea to split it. I do think that we all have to admit that Atlanta is sort of at a crossroads. It's not like it was. And I think that this may be the thing. Split it up. Let's get some new ladies. We know that, listen, Portia, the rumors of Portia coming back, I wholeheartedly believe. But on which show? I mean, you could throw her on either. She's young enough to be on the new Atlanta. She could bring a couple of her friends on. I'd like to see more of her sister.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think we're going to hear about this at BravoCon? Can you fucking imagine if we're breaking this and it's a BravoCon announcement?
I mean, I gotta tell you, I'm starting to get some major FOMO about not going to BravoCon. Maybe I need to look and see if I can get a last minute ticket because I'm going to be watching the news feed just to see what's happening there. Because I think of course they're going to save, everything juicy
right
to share then. And yeah, so I don't know. I think it could make sense to have a legacy for Atlanta. Would love to see Lisa Wu. I just remember her as being funny, sassy, definitely sharp wit. And I just think...
And so pretty.
And so pretty. I think that's where we need to go with Housewives. We need more, people who can, think on their feet, not people who are being coached on things to say in certain situations and staging things and self-producing. I don't care about that. We want people who actually have stuff going on and a lot of
And to be clear, the only reason Beverly Hills gets away with that is
Yeah.
because some of them are celebrities. They're mostly all wealthy. It's like we come to expect that. But don't bring me to some podunk town and start with
Yeah.
that shit. I want real tea. And I'm not calling anywhere podunk. The town I'm from could be considered podunk too. I'm just saying, like, you live in Beverly Hills, maybe there's a certain thing. But if the New York City ladies can bring it, every other city in America should be able to. And that's one thing I will give New York City credit for. There's none of that bullshit. They let it all hang out. Say what we will about Ramona, and God knows I have opinions on her, but she lets her freak flag fly.
And that's why I think there's still a lot of people who still love Ramona or don't love everything she says, but, you know, love that she makes good TV. Just like, you know, Sonia. I mean, Sonia lets, all of them do. And, you know, that's the stuff that just is so much more interesting to me, is these women who actually have a lot of things going on in their lives and are just really have a naturally interesting personality and aren't, you know, coming up with alliances just to, you know, keep their time on the TV. Cause like, who cares? Like if there's people who just keep coming back season after season, but they're not bringing anything, like it just makes the show, that brings the whole show down. So anyway, well, this has been such a fun little chat. I love getting to just catch up with you and talk about all of this stuff, because where we normally used to kind of text each other throughout the week about our reactions to the shows, we save it all for the pod so that it's, you know, like it's our conversation for the first time with the Cocktailers.
It was weird at first, but now like I'm so much more used to embarrassing myself on audio.
Oh my God. I mean,
I don't think I'll ever quite be ready to embarrass myself on camera, but on audio, it's sort of like,
I mean, to a certain extent, we're letting our freak flags fly too here with the Cocktailers. So thank you so much.
Cocktailers, you know we love you. And till next week.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends, but only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then like forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at @bravoandcocktails_. And check out the website, because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.